Hey guys, what is up and welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about throttle position sensor issues on the supercharged GT350. Stay tuned as we diagnose that problem. Alright guys, so before we get into the video, I wanted to start off with running through some notes right here and then letting you guys know what the car is and how it currently sits. So this is a 2017 GT350 and we have lost the first motor that was in this car. The first motor was lost due to oil consumption. I think at its worst, it was eating almost 5 quarts of oil every 300 miles. So it was eating quite a bit of oil. And it actually came down to the very last month of warranty that I had left on the car. And they did end up pulling the motor and throwing the new Gen 2 Voodoo in this car. And it was all done underneath the warranty. So I had no issues with that. The company that actually did it was Philong Ford in Colorado Springs, which is where I was previously, but I'm now down here in Florida just due to military service. So I have a picture of the VIN of the first motor that was in the car that I will be posting in the video so you guys can see the serial number just to verify that everything I'm saying is true. So as the car sits right now, just kind of a brief summary as what's done to the motor of the car. So currently this is a Gen 2 Voodoo with the Gen 5 Whipple on top of it. The only things that I have added to the car have been oil pump gears, the cooling mod, and the Adler radiator. All of that stuff I bought as a package from Bryn Speed, and then the car itself was tuned by Palm Beach Dyno. So this whole setup was installed by my buddy Curtis, who has a automotive shop in Colorado Springs. He works on Mustangs only, but he's an absolute guru when it comes to this kind of stuff. The reason me and my brother did not tackle putting this on the car was just due to the fact that I had to PCS and leave Colorado very quickly. And I was also in the midst of getting this car painted and ready to go as well. So we just didn't have time to get it tuned or to get this on there ourselves. But overall, the tuning process was pretty straightforward through Palm Beach Dyno. It was just sending revisions back and forth to get the car dialed in. Right now, the current horsepower number is actually unknown. I have yet to put the car on a dyno. I had every intention to until I started running into these TPS issues or throttle position sensor issues, if you guys are unfamiliar. So that all being said, it looks like the throttle position sensor thing as a whole is an issue with these new Gen 5 Whipples. So I will post the specs from Whipple on the screen too for you guys to see. But essentially, throttle position sensor is supposed to be between 0.40 volts and 0.45 volts when it's completely closed. That's the butterfly on the throttle body, and then when it's completely open, it's supposed to be between 0.75 volts to 0.85 volts when it's completely open. And then throttle position sensor 1 is supposed to be between 0.1 or between 0.4.1 volts and 4.20 volts, with the target being 4.15 volts. So today what we're going to do is we're going to hook up the computer with the live link and the data logging software I have on my computer, along with my SCT handheld tuner, and find out where these throttle position sensors are actually sitting at as far as the volts go, because they might be way out of tolerance of what they should be, which means I might have to open up the throttle position sensor itself and check out and move around the magnet that's inside of that to try to get those volts where they should be. However, I haven't opened that before, so I don't know what state that magnet is currently in. I have seen that a lot of the other guys running these Gen 5 Whipples have had issues when they pull apart the throttle position sensor housing, that the magnet inside of there has actually deteriorated. And some of those guys have tried to get it replaced on or through Whipple's warranty. I don't know if they have been successful in that. Again, a lot of that was just combing through a lot of the Mustang forums around the Gen 5 Whipple. So with that all being said, we're going to get into it. Guys, now I did want to show you this process. So I did go ahead and click on check communication. And you can see that the car did end up pairing to the handheld tuner and to the laptop. So they are communicating at this point in time. One thing I do want to tell you guys, because I forget about it every single time and end up getting frustrated, but to try to save you guys the headache, make sure you guys go ahead and keep your SCT tuner up to date. It did end up taking me like a whole day to update this thing because it had like 600 files to update, because this thing just sits in the car and I only use it when I need it. So this thing was way out of date, and so was my laptop, which again took quite some time to go ahead and update. And then once I did have both these updated, I thought I was going to be ready to start this data logging process. But then I ended up having an issue with the cord that I had plugged into the bottom of my SEC tuner, and that was giving me some issues too. So as soon as I swapped cords to a new one, then everything connected as it was supposed to. But again, if you guys don't know that, it's a headache, and then you just end up clicking around and ending up being frustrated. So with that all being said, we're going to go ahead and click through some of these screens as we keep going through here. All this information right here is correct. Once you get to this point, it's going to have you select your PIDs or the things that you are interested in monitoring. So we're going to scroll all the way to the bottom of this list, because at the bottom is where they have the throttle section. Here is the throttle section. So once you get into this throttle section, what you're going to want to do is you want to click on TPS voltage, throttle position sensor 2 voltage, throttle angle actual and desired. And then once you go ahead and click those couple of options, see if I can get this to refocus. There's the options you should have selected. Once you go ahead and select that, then you go ahead and click configure. Once you guys click configure, it's going to want to have you jump up here and click the green button for go. Once you click go, it's going to think for a second. Then it'll start showing you guys real-time data, even with the car not running. So we click go, it's going to say please wait. Then it's going to start displaying our voltage right here at the bottom. So you can see our voltage already. I can't remember what it is off the top of my head. I'm going to have to go look at my other laptop to see what the voltages are, but this is with the throttle completely closed. So I'm going to go ahead and give it complete throttle with the throttle pedal to the floor. And now you guys can see how those voltage changed. So this is completely closed again, and then this is completely open. Alright you guys, so sorry it did end up getting pretty late on me today, but as you guys saw from that previous clip that the TPS values are way off. TPS 2 is over by a whole point, so it was supposed to be, I think, at 0.44 off the top of my head, and it was at 1.44. So the issue that I'm currently running into is that if I back the voltage down to get TPS 2 within the values that it's supposed to be in, it's also going to back the values off of TPS 1, which is supposed to be at, I think, at 4.10 off the top of my head, and it was at like 3.61. So if I back the voltage down, TPS 2 will be within the proper threshold, but then TPS 1 is going to be way out of whack. So I think that I just have a faulty throttle position sensor. So I'm going to have to look into either replacing that or trying to find one underneath the warranty. But that concludes this one. Thanks for helping me diagnose what the issue is. But I will keep you guys updated in a part 2 video as soon as I figure out a way forward. If you guys like this video, please like and subscribe. And if you guys have any experience with this, please leave it down in the comments. Thanks. See you on the next one.